Good evening, and welcome to the 16th Annual Jewish Law Symposium. My name is Donald Scarinci, and I'm the managing partner at Scarinci Hollenbeck. It's a pleasure to welcome you all to this very special event. The Jewish Law Symposium has become one of the premier events in the New Jersey legal community, attracting over 800 participants tonight from across the legal spectrum. We welcome our distinguished panelists, Benjamin Brafton, Jeff Chiesa, Rabbi Simone Jacobson, and my dear friend, Karen Kessler, who I thank forever for introducing me to Rabbi Lubin. The Jewish Law Symposium was founded by Rabbi Shalom Lubin, director of Chabad of Southeast Morris County, an organization that I am proud to generously support. Now, some of you might be wondering how a church-going Catholic got involved in the Jewish Law Symposium and Chabad, and how Rabbi Lubin and I have become such dear friends. Let me tell you, people come into our lives for a reason. All of us who have managed our law firms and our practices during the last 2.5 years have had one of the most challenging experiences of our careers. We are leaders in an industry that is experiencing a paradigm shift of extraordinary magnitude, with no return to what was before and no paved roads as we move forward into the future. People are angry. Clients are hurting. Politics is polarizing. The economy teeters on recession, and COVID still hasn't left us alone. Rabbi Lubin is a bright light during this dark and difficult time. By his example, he showed me forward-thinking leadership, and he taught me the true meaning of giving. This remarkable human being, who does so much for so many, took the hand of someone he hardly knew, embraced me, and gave me comfort and the benefit of his wisdom. He selflessly gives what all of us in this room value most: time. Time. Rabbi Lubin taught me that by giving, we acknowledge that we are not the doer, and that the doer is present with us. This understanding is our pathway forward through these COVID years. I know that I'm not alone in this room tonight when I call Rabbi Lubin friend, advisor, and rabbi of New Jersey's legal community. If you haven't done it yet, after tonight, reach out to him. So, usually, at this time, we show a short video of Rabbi Lubin's Thankful Thursday initiative, where every week, dozens of isolated seniors in low-income housing receive soup and cookie packages, along with a friendly visit from volunteers. But tonight, we have a particularly timely message for you. A portion of the proceeds of tonight's event will be going towards helping a group of refugee teenagers from Odessa who escaped when war broke out in the Ukraine and are currently being housed in a refugee hotel. Last week, the rabbi's daughter, Rivka, returned from her second trip to this refugee hotel, and it's my pleasure to welcome Rivka to the stage to tell us more about this special project.
Good evening. Just a few days ago, I returned from my second trip to Berlin, where I volunteered and lived in a refugee hotel with hundreds of Jewish Ukrainian refugees. Before I give you an update about the situation there, let me give you some background. This past December, as part of my year abroad studying in Israel, our school took us on a one-week trip to Ukraine, where I was privileged to see the beautiful Jewish centers and synagogues and experience the Jewish life and wonderful people in Ukraine, so alive and vibrant. Less than 2 months later, war broke out, and we watched in horror as everything fell apart. How the people we had just met had to run for their lives, separating families and communities. Instead of coming home for a Passover break in April, I found myself on a plane to Berlin with a friend to spend the holiday in a refugee hotel and to be a source of comfort and inspiration to a group of 30 teenagers my own age. When we arrived, we were introduced to this group of teenagers, regular kids who were living their normal lives just a few weeks before. When war broke out, they had to flee, leaving behind their families and the lives they knew. They were, thank God, safe, but they were sad, miserable, and very depressed. Thanks to generous friends and supporters, we were able to show these teens love and encouragement. We showed them that we care and they are not alone. We spent the next 3 weeks organizing daily projects, extracurricular programs, and trips, doing everything we could to help get their minds off the news. I must say, one of the perks of living in a Ukrainian refugee hotel is the endless supply of herring, which is served at every meal, even breakfast. We tried to convince them that we eat it in such quantities in America too. It's the breakfast of champions. The weeks flew by, and by the time we left back to Israel, these teens were alive. Their eyes shone. They knew that there are people out there who care about them. I knew that this was just the beginning of my involvement with this special group of refugees. I knew I'd be back. 2 weeks ago, I packed 6 duffel bags filled with thousands of dollars of candies, chocolates, school supplies, and games, and headed to Berlin. We surprised the group of teens by showing up, and the tears of joy and the hugs we received were so heartfelt and emotional. We jumped right into helping everybody prepare for the new school year in a new country and a new environment. It was so surreal to watch these children and teens start their new school year ceremony while on Zoom with their friends and family in war-torn Ukraine. Our days consisted of arranging daily programs and activities, having karaoke music parties in the lobby, and doing story time with the little children before bed. We created a daily journal that we managed to have translated into Russian for the students to give them a sense of fulfillment and direction in their new lives. Dear Chabad and Jewish Law Symposium friends and supporters, with your help, I've raised and spent over $20,000 to help these refugees, but we need to do so much more. Your support is vital and needed. You can donate online at chabadcares.com/Berlin, where every dollar goes directly towards helping these teens and children. I'm only 18 years old. I can't change the entire world, I can't stop this war, and I can't help the refugees get back home. But I'm committed to doing my part to see to it that these new special friends of mine live the best lives they can under these difficult circumstances. I will, God willing, be spending the upcoming Jewish holidays back in Berlin. And with your continued help and generous support, we will bring hope, comfort, and God willing peace to the teenage refugees and all the people of Ukraine. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Rivka. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for being here tonight. Thank you for joining us. Thank you to our corporate sponsors. Thank you to our table sponsors. Thank you to everyone, my wife Arona, my brother Mendy, everyone that helped make tonight happen. You guys are really the heroes who help us do our work each and every day. And give yourselves a big round of applause. Thank you. You know, a few months back, I had a chance to spend a day in Charleston, South Carolina. I was going on a Sunday to visit a friend of mine for a few hours. And I flew in the morning, and we were supposed to get together at 1. And for those of you that know Charleston, there are only so many things to do, but I didn't have a lot of time, and we were going to be doing the horse and buggy ride a little later and do a couple other things. So I was in the airport, and I had like 2 hours to spare. I went to the information desk. I said, what should I do? I have 2 hours in Charleston. What do I do? So they said, if you're staying downtown, take the ferry from the Charleston Harbor, go to the Patriots Point. There's an aircraft carrier there, the USS Yorktown. It's very impressive. So I did. I didn't have a lot of time. I took the ferry. I got there. I had about an hour. And you have a choice when you get to the Yorktown, aircraft carrier built during World War II that was in service through the Vietnam War. You could either walk around yourself and do your own self-guided tour, or they have scheduled tours every hour or so. I didn't have time. I know a lot about World War II. I'll do a self-guided tour. So I do my self-guided tour. I go on the deck. I see the planes. I go underneath, the mess hall, the place, everything. You figure it all out. It's not rocket science. And 45 minutes later, I'm on my way back out, and I pass a group led by a guide. And I say, you know what, I got 5 minutes. Let me tag along with them a little bit. And all of a sudden, this empty, gray, historic ship became alive. All of a sudden, it was about the heroes on the ship and the people on the ship. And this guide knew every detail about this ship. And all of a sudden, this was not just some old battleship sitting in a harbor somewhere. This was a living, breathing World War II memorial in ways I had no imagination of before. And I came to realize in that moment that sometimes in life it's good to have a guide. It's good to have someone giving you direction. Because yes, in life, in our quest for fulfillment and purpose and meaning, we can go it alone, and we bump into inspiration and ethics and morals and values every once in a while in our practices, in our fields, in our life. But when you have a guide opening up your mind to new experiences, to new ideas, to the deep richness of our tradition, it's a whole new world. And that's what the Jewish Law Symposium is. The Jewish Law Symposium is an opportunity for each and every one of us to learn, to study, to become familiar with the ethics and morals and values of faith, of purpose, of meaning and fulfillment. And kudos to each and every one of you for spending the time for a guided tour about meaning and fulfillment in life. That's what we're here for tonight, and I'm ready to get started, so let's go.